U.S. Justice Department has charged 4 former Louisville Metro Police Department officers with federal crimes in relation to the death of 26-year-old Breonna Taylor. They're being charged with civil rights offenses, unlawful conspiracy, unconstitutional use of force, and obstruction offenses. Former Louisville Metro Police Officer Brett Hankinson has been charged in a 2-count indictment for deprivation of rights under color of law. And separately, former Detective Kelly Goodlett has been charged with conspiracy along with another officer, Joshua James, for allegedly falsifying an affidavit for a search warrant, according to a criminal information filed in federal court in Louisville. And let's bring in criminal defense attorney and former homicide prosecutor Bernarda Villalona for more on this. Bernarda, these are serious charges: civil rights offenses, unlawful conspiracies, unconstitutional use of force, obstruction offenses. Did you expect this? Did the legal community see this coming?
Well, I don't think the legal community saw it coming in terms of to the extent of officers that were actually charged. But this is what the legal community and the community itself has been seeking since the death of Breonna Taylor. This is what the community has been calling out, because from the very beginning, we at least knew that there were problems with the search warrant affidavit that was signed by the judge. We knew from the very beginning that there was false information that was provided in that search warrant, and that search warrant is what set the ball in motion. So finally, there is some kind of accountability as to these officers. It's not the accountability that we were seeking. However, it is a start. But again, this is the very beginning. The charges still have to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, and we still have to wait and see a proper sentence. But one thing I will say, Brett Hankinson, he testified at his trial. So his testimony at the state trial can be used against him in this federal case. So let's see how everything plays out.
Bernarda, how does this differ from criminal charges at the state level?
Well, it's the federal department. It's the Department of Justice is the one who's handling the investigation, handling the prosecution. So you have a completely different agency that handled the investigation. It wasn't left up for the people in Kentucky or the investigators in Kentucky to conduct that investigation. This time, if there is a sentence, it's going to be served in a federal prison, which is completely different than a state prison. And the rules are completely different. And another thing, one thing I do not like about the federal system, even though I have the highest respect for them, is that cameras are not allowed in the courtroom. So we're going to be deprived what actually happens step by step.
Now, Bernarda, the officers in this case have made clear that when it comes to the actual shooting of Breonna Taylor, that they did so under what they thought was threat of life. They had a gun pointed at them by her boyfriend. So how difficult is this case going to be for the federal government?
So you have to think in terms of difficulty. I think the charges that they brought forward are ones that are easier to prove because it's dealing with the falsifying and the false information that was provided to the judge in order to get that search warrant. Because guess what? Without a search warrant, they wouldn't have been allowed to go into Breonna Taylor's home. That search warrant is what set everything apart. Also, take into account that the officers that are charged, only one of those officers, Brett Hankinson, actually fired his gun on that night. These other officers didn't actually fire their firearms so far of what we know of who's been arrested.
What kind of precedent do you think this case, if any, could establish moving forward?
Well, the precedent that is set and that has already happened is that there have been changes in Kentucky as to how an officer can get a search warrant in order to avoid some kind of mistake like this. Like there is an overseer process taking place now. So, for example, when they received that search warrant here, it was the officer, the sergeant, who went straight to the judge. It wasn't like a prosecutor looked over that search warrant and said, okay, you have approval, but you still have to present it to a judge. You need several layers of approval when you're talking about breaking into someone's home, going into someone's home to attempt to arrest them or to search the home, because we all know, and precedent shows us this, that casualties can take place just how it took place in this case where Breonna Taylor lost her life. And her boyfriend, who was there, actually fired his gun. But guess what? He was a lawful owner of that gun, and he believed someone was breaking it.
All right, Bernarda Villalona, we appreciate the analysis as always. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.